think that Jack Boland is ahead of his time, and the people here who show a level of concern in terms of empowering people and helping them to develop the skills that are necessary to navigate through some of the treacherous waters of life is something that's very much needed. This evening we're going to be looking at how to get unstuck.
2 1 2.
I think some of you know what I mean. Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what's using my life? I heard a guy give a lecture one time that says, we are today what we were when. And he was talking about the fact that we, to a great extent, behave, think, react because of some previous experiences we've had. One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go real well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life. And when we begin to understand and know that, accepting that reality, that we will never ever have things just on an even keel all the time. That you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place. That's where the work is. See, anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills are paid, they have happy relationships, the children are acting normal, business is successful. Anybody can be positive then. Anybody can have a larger vision then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. Am I correct? See, but the real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. Somebody said that adversity introduces a man to himself, or a woman. How do you handle it? That's where the growth takes place. When I was facing some challenges, I had a guy say something to me, and I suggest this is one of the first things that you want to do when you're facing a challenge. You want to get unstuck. Evaluate where you are. Look at it. Assess yourself. Assess yourself and assess the situation. What brought you there? What role did you play? Earl Nightingale had a saying, all right. He said, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. What has brought you to this point? What did you learn from it? Are you learning anything? Or are you doing it over and over and over again? Somebody said that insanity is doing the same thing in the same way, expecting a different outcome. Are you going through it or are you growing through it? Are you bigger and better because of it? Because it's not going to leave you until you grow through it. I was going through a major challenge in my life that was wearing me out, that was using me. And one of my students told me in a class that I was teaching, Lessons in Truth, she said, rest until you handle it with grace, it will stay in your face.
Let's jump over.
And it stayed there a long time. The challenges of life. How do we get stuck? A friend of mine went through a divorce. My best friend. He had a wife that did not love him as much as he loved her. It was his first real true love. He was a very religious man. Did not believe in divorce. He made a mistake. And he paid for his mistake with a lot of pain, a lot of tears. And it came to a point where he knew he should have gotten a divorce.
Jump 3.
But he was stuck.
Jump 3.
He was stuck in something called revenge. He said, she made me so miserable, I'm going to pay her back.
Roll. 4.
He was stuck. And he stayed in there longer than he should have because it began to attack him. It began to affect him psychologically.
Yeah. So then you're going to jump there.
And as a result of that, when eventually he did get a divorce, he took that same attitude to other relationships, looking for something to go wrong. He was burned so badly, he did not want to risk pain again. He was going in relationships trying to avoid pain. When it became too do something to make sure the relationship did not work. He would always try and find something wrong with the person, because there are no perfect people. So if you look for it, you can find it. He was stuck in revenge. Another friend of mine, working on a job, loved the company very much, expected to retire there, and one day they called him in the office, asking for his badge and identification, called the security man up, walked into his desk, told him he was fired and he had to leave then. He was devastated. And if you came anywhere near him, he would tell you his story. As we all have stories. Even when he got a job, he went on the job telling anybody who would listen how they fired him unjustly. And he always said it wasn't fair. Life isn't fair. Life just is. It's not fair that birds eat worms, and they do. So we can't consider what's fair. We get stuck in the fact that it's not fair. I don't deserve that. They were wrong. The Ohio legislature, the Capitol there, and the 20 people as they came by. There was one particular person that all of us knew. The children, adults, used to pick at him when he came by. We called him Chicken Man. He had a feather in his hat. He had a toy chicken on top of his car. He around the area, blinking his lights and occasionally blowing his horn. When he got out of his car, he would drive to walk downtown with a baby carriage. Dolls in there, and a picture of a woman. And when you say something to him, I came near him, you will hear him making the sounds of a chicken. All of us used to laugh at Chicken Man. We didn't know Chicken Man's story. Chicken Man woke up one morning
I did 30-something
3 a.m.
Shit.
And his house was on the lot.
Keep rolling, keep rolling.
He
I just got.
and he got out of the window, left
Okay.
only to get outside to hear his children and his wife screaming for help. He ran back to the door to go in to save them, and the flames were too hot, too awesome.
That's a heavy loss.
He tried to get in, he couldn't get in. He was desperate, frantic. Pretty soon the cries stopped. They perished in the fire. His brother-in-law came, found out that his sister had died and his niece is in the fire. Grabbed Chicken Man and started beating him. You chicken, why didn't you save my sister? You're chicken, you're chicken. When the people pulled him off, Chicken Man, they picked him up and said, are you all right? And Chicken Man looked at him and he started making the sounds of a chicken. He never ever overcame that tragedy. He was stuck from that experience. None of us knew why Chicken Man went around with this picture and these little dolls. I remember when I was stuck in anger for a long time. When I made a commitment to my adopted mother that I was going to purchase her home. I'll never forget the experience of working real hard to get the money for the down payment. So when they told me of a beautiful home in an exclusive area of Miami, went to see it, took my mother there, and she said, yes, I want it. It was on the water. We went to the closing. My attorney said, Les, have you had a title search? I said, what's a title search? Well, we just take a couple of days to check it out and make sure there are no liens against the property that you might have to pay if you buy this home. The guy who was there selling me the house, he said, listen. He said, the only reason that I'm selling you this house and selling it at a loss is because I admire the fact that you want to purchase this house for your mother. I have another guy who will give me substantially more money, but I like you. And I've got to get back to Philadelphia. Now, if we cannot consummate this deal now, then the deal is off. I said, there are no liens against the property? He says, no, of course not. I looked at my attorney, I said, I believe you. Outside. She said, Mr. Brown, my question is honest. She said, but business is business. I signed that contract. And we had a big celebration. Everybody in the neighborhood was talking about Leslie coming home. One of the twins that Mimi adopted to buy her a home. Child, isn't that nice? God is going to bless him. A few weeks later, I received a letter, a registered letter, indicating that the house was going up for sheriff's sale on the courthouse $12,000 lien against the property because the previous owner owed him that money. And if I did not come up with $12,000 in 30 days, he was going to sell the house to the highest bidder. I called this man and said, "Mister, my name is Les Brown. I purchased this house. I had nothing to do with your prior bill. He said, "That's not my problem."
I gotta fix this.
He said, "You should have had a title search."
Yeah.
I said, "Can you give me time?" I said, "My mother is an old lady."
Horrible.
I said, "Please," I said, "if you just give me the time, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but the house is
That's
going
5
to
minutes
be
straight,
but I
10
think I
minutes
can
straight.
give you at least
Because we went through the other
within
restaurant.
6 months.
So
Somehow I will pay you your money." He said, "No, I want it all in 30 days or you get out." I did everything I could.
That's the regular people
thinking
talk.
about how I could get
That's the regular people talk.
$12,000.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I took everything I could to get the money just for the down payment.
Am I?
And the closing.
I'm like just sitting here recording.
Huh?
Can you stop recording?
Nah, you good, bro. Now we go.